Welcome to Daily Trades by Rin. My name is Rin. Today is July 28th, 2006. Okay, let's get started. So, um, okay, what happened to me today? What happened to me today? So today, this is my gain today. I did about a 5% gain. Currently holding my account at about $400 now. Um, so I'm able to gain on a consistent basis. I need about another 100 to 3x my account, right? So I need a good 500 to 3x my account. I start off at 170, right? Giving you a little bit of how I'm growing, just because I am growing every day. Mind you, um, so the amount. I, okay, so I'll make a side note that it has not always been the fact that I kept the initial principal of capital of 170. I started off at 170, but since I've been doing this, and Robinhood allowed me to do instant deposit. Every time I have a contract and I have a difference kind of good to drop, I do drop in some deposits here and there. So it'd be like $1, $2, right? And then you know it'll settle in my account the following day or whatnot. So I do deposit here and there. That's why you see my account growing as fast as it is. But that I'm also that I'm at the same time I also been gaining on my trades, right? So I'm trying to push my account to greater uh what you call it, trying to grow my account bigger. But it is a part of my investing, right? So it doesn't really matter. I'm growing it with trading, and I'm also growing it in principal as I'm depositing. But all in all, I would say from my personal deposits, I'm probably about $200 in, and then I'm at 400. So the other 200 was from trading. Um, yeah. So with that being said, uh, so these are my initials. Uh, you know, so I'm trying to keep documentation. So if at some point I'm going to stop revealing my details, right? Just because if it goes bigger, then I don't need people to, you know, I don't have to prove my receipts. Actually, I shouldn't care, but I guess it is what it is, right? Um, I mean, it's still a small amount, you know what I mean? So I don't think anyone wants $400, right? The amount of inflation that's going on in America, I don't think $400 can do anything. I mean, it might buy someone a good meal for a few days, but it's really not gonna do anything. So, but anyways, but hey, I am good with this kind of stuff. So you know what I mean. Um, but okay, so whatever. Let's get on. Let's get on with this. Uh, well, people. Um, I mean, if you come at me, you better go after all these guys that has millions. The hell are you scared of them? You feel me? Everyone that does this stuff always seems to be the masters at it, right? I'm not the master. You know what I mean? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't think people care if they care what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? They probably think I'm full of BS. You know what I mean? Like, but anyways, I want to show you what had happened during the market today. Okay, and what I saw during the market, right? So this is the graph that presented itself today, that it revealed itself, right? So I had a contract overnight, and I was able to pull out. And what happened? Where was my contract? I believe I had a contract about at 7:37, and then when it opened up, it was here at the top, and I was able to pull out at the top. I didn't make much. Probably about like $6 or $7. I was able to pull out, but so I was able to get $6, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm good, right? And at that point, I was like 180 at that point, right? Yeah, around 180, right? And then I was like, all right, let me catch something on the way down, and I had to make some money over here. I think I made a good $10, right? Going down, I believe. I can't remember. Yeah, going down. I made a good $10, right? Yeah. So then I was like at $17 ish, right? That's where I think I took my picture. Well, no, I didn't take my picture right there. I think it's right here. I got $17, and then I crashed it right here, right? Crashed it because I did some wrong positions, because I was trying to decide if it was a bearish or bullish day, right? I don't really know yet, right? Because you know what I mean, like because I had it going up, right? And remember yesterday I said, oh, you know, I can't see it going down, so I have to go up. So I mean, it stayed up for me just for me to pull out, which is good. And then I realized, hey, look, the market might crash today because we already had um, a pre-market, like, you know, it was red, right? So I'm like, okay, just follow the movement. So I followed it going down. So and then I got my $10, right? That's where I got whatever, right? And then I had it going up afterwards after I figured out that it was this kind of descending wedge here, right? So I was like, hey, look, hey, we have descending wedge. It's gonna break out, and then it's you know, but then I was like, hey, it's gonna break out, but I don't know if it's gonna reverse, right? Because it might break out, and then it started doing this thing right here. It started doing this thing, so it broke out, and then it started doing this thing right here, right, coming down, right there. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know what it's gonna do, right? Then I was like, you know what? I think it has to reverse. You know what I mean? It has to reverse, right? And then it started to you know start to rally and it started to stay at 177, 178 area, right? And then it started to go started to be bullish, right? And then but then you know I can't see this backwards ascending type of thing where we did like 2 days ago, right? Where you know it's just like backwards wedge or whatever, right? And then but then this backward wedge is different. It's a bullish backward wedge, right? Then I was like, you know what? It's bullish. It's bullish all the way through. And like if you look at this right here, right? Technically, I bought. So I wrote it all the way up. So I mean, right now my contract is about like almost $29 in profits, right? And the way I wrote it up was, I caught it right here in the middle, right? And then I caught it some more, and then I caught it at the very end. And even at the very end, I was like, dude, you know, like, um, with this broadening wedge. So this they call this a broadening wedge, right? I was like, you know what? It's not, it's not a bearish day. It is a bullish day, right? And you know, especially because the whole way through, we were up like, you know, um, $3, $3, right up here, right from down here. Well, the daily gains part. This is after hours, but I can't remember what the daily gain is. So if the daily gain, oh, we start out right here. Okay, we did start it off overnight. We start off right here, right? Yeah, daily gain. So it dropped down, and then it got daily gains here, right? Yeah, so we're at $2 up here, right? And so I got the contract right here, and it was the to be bullish, right? And then I had a feeling that it would we had a pretty big IFVG right here, right? For value gap, not IFVG, just FVG, I guess. Fair value gap, right there. I guess it's an inverse. I don't know. And I was like, hey, look, it's gonna go all the way up to like at least up here 45. But you know, we have all these price lines, so you know, I mean, if it goes to like 744, you know, so my very last contract, for being bullish, 'cause I did like 2 to 3 contracts just routing it, right? Because you know, every time I got $10, I cut out $10. I cut out, right? I mean, my contracts are small anyways. You know what I mean? Like they're not like single legs where it has infinity capabilities. It you know, at most I'm collecting like $30, you know, here and there, 40 or something, you know. So when it reaches a price level, I just cut out. So it doesn't really matter. But anyways, so I did like 3 times, right? So my collective total is like $29. But even up to here, I had a bullish to go all the way to like 744, right? And if I were to hold it overnight, and then if tomorrow and it still, you know, either go up higher than 743, 744, I probably would have made my gains. But I didn't. I was happy with what I got, and then I just, you know, I went to work, and I wasn't able to do my video. I went to work, you know, right away, and you know, normally when I do my videos afterwards, after the market closes, it probably takes me another hour. So then I won't start to work until like 2 to 3. Then you know, me being procrastinating and stuff, I won't get out the house by 4, right? So, but yeah, um, but this time I went to work earlier because I need to deliver my eBay package and other mail. I mean, yeah, not deliver, but to drop off. And so I was yeah, I did that today. But yeah, it turned out the way I guess, right? So we did have a bullish day after hours, which to me it's it's just, you know, it's just proof. of concept, right? And whether I took the position or not, it doesn't matter. I know that I was able to make the right decision, and going forward, that I know that certain things I was able to read correctly. But okay, before I close off, right? Because I'm not gonna spend so much time today. I noticed something. I noticed a different pattern that I figured out, right? So there was a point where um, this right here became. How did I know that this was going to reverse? Right here. So when this came down, right, I realized that it was a one is a reversal. So there has to be a reversal somewhere, right? And the reason why I realized that, right, and this is a testament to patterns, like shapes, right? And shapes are important, guys, right? If you remember, right, um, even with like political stuff, when we're talking about like improving the economy, right? The new administration, the last administration, whatever, right? They always talk about shapes. What type of shape the economy is it, right? I couldn't, I, I mean, I used to make fun of it, right? Like, what's a K-shaped economy? What is that, right? I don't even know what Trump's economy is. He said it was something else, but check this out, guys. Okay, so when I realized that this was forming a triangle right here, right? I was like, there's no way it's not gonna, it's gonna crash, even after hours. Normally, like what I mean, like after hours, right? Especially if we have a bearish sentiment, like from the past few days, right? I'm like, there's no way after hours it's gonna crash, right? And so that's why I took a bullish position towards the end, even at the end of the day, right? On my last contract. The only thing is I didn't want to hold it overnight, because I don't. Um, I think the reason why is because I had other stuff on my mind, right? And I wasn't able to finish off the day, right? So I wanted to but drop off my package to the post office. So I was like, you know what? I don't have time to think about this and commit. So, but okay, the reason why I found this to be a triangle shape. If you look at my two posts that I did, right? One of them, I said, I think the universe is trying to tell me something, right? And this is triangle, guys. Check this out, right? So at some point during the thing, this is a backward wedge, right? But it's a descending backward wedge. This is, and the other one is an ascending backward wedge, right? But check this out, right? Okay, and this is okay. This is what I've come to learn this past couple of weeks, right? Mind you, I spent a lot of time trying to figure things out, and I'm still learning to this day, right? So when you get like these wedges, it's not like a wedge where like, okay, like this one, right? Like these are like, okay, these are like wedges, right? Like they're just regular wedges. You know what I mean? Like it goes up and down and it produces like a little triangle, right? So let's say, for example, right? Let's say if this right here, um, okay, let's say this right here started off lower, right? And then we had it from, okay, let's just start right here. I guess we can do that. Okay, let's say this is a wedge, right? Right? And then the wedge started off at the bottom right here where this price line is, right? Let's just make an assumption it did that, right? Well, you have this triangle wedge, you know what I mean? Like it's a wedge, right? It's triangle, right? Whatever, right? That's a wedge, right? But this right here, there's a wedge right here, right? It's more of a channel type of wedge, but it's like almost vertical, right? But for it to produce a wedge, it needs to so what they call this a widening wedge, where when it rallies at a price point, it gets wider, right? Right. So as it's getting wider, right, it started to go up, right? And as soon as it started going up, I saw a triangle, right? Because it essentially, right, when it was broadening, so they call it a broadening wedge, right? When it was broadening, it was still the same wedge. So like from here to here, as it's broadening, it's still the same wedge, right? Okay, even from here to here, right? Because At some point, I was waiting it for it to like consolidate towards the bottom of the channel here, right? So then you will really have this broadening wedge to keep on broadening, right? But with this broadening wedge, right, as it was breaking out to go to the upper side, right, to reverse, I was like, okay, yeah, that's why it has a strong reversal because it's a descending broadening wedge, right? And it's coming from the top. And it's coming from a bullish sentiment from this one right here, right? So this was bullish, right? This line right here is bullish, right? All right, let's just delete this one. So this was bullish, right? And then when it crashed, it created this wedge, right? So since we're bullish overnight already, this is some price manipulation, and this, and this continue on this bullish sentiment from overnight, right? So it's going up, right? And since this was just a price manipulation, right? This created two sides to strengthen this triangle, right? Remember, I was like, hey, the universe is trying to tell me something, right? And so the triangle is the strongest, is like the second or the third strongest shape um, of the physical structure of the universe, right? And since that's the case, I was like, you know what? That's what the universe is trying to tell me. You know what I mean? We got the eye of the pyramid. I sold my soul, guys. I sold my soul to the money. No, I'm just messing. But yeah. So therefore, guys, we got this pump. You feel me? You feel me? Hey, you never know. You feel me? That's why, guys. That's why Elon Musk, triangle, Jay-Z, triangle. Everyone, they all got the triangle sign. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyway, guys, that is it for me today. Remember, if you see a triangle, make sure stay away from it because you're gonna make a lot of money. All right, just playing y'all. All right, thanks for joining me today, guys. Today is 7/28/2026. You um you stuck it through with me on Daily Trades by Rin. Okay, y'all. Peace.